Hi, I'm Dr. Angela Yeagley. Welcome to Sage Health TV. Today I want to talk about why you should consider being gluten-free. So a question I get a lot is, why would I even consider taking out gluten? And isn't it really just a fad? Because, it's super popular right now and everybody's doing it. And the unfortunate answer is actually no. This is one of those things, it's not a fad. Well, it might be for some people, but really there are some real reasons underlying why a lot of people can't tolerate gluten. So why would you consider it? Let's talk about what is gluten, and what could be the potential benefits, and how would you test to think, to find out, do I have a problem? So starting out, I just want to share with you, I've seen some really amazing transformations with people being off gluten. Usually this is something, we do some testing, we find some antibodies against it, and so it's worthwhile to do a 2-week elimination. And so I've seen complete relief of migraines in people, complete relief of fibromyalgia pain, and complete relief and resolution of IBS with diarrhea and constipation, as well as chronic fatigue. So now, is everybody going to have that result? No, it's not going. Usually, it's not going to be that amazing for most people. Sometimes it is, but usually there is some significant change. If you have a problem with gluten, maybe the migraine gets better, the pain gets better, the energy gets a little better. So according to some research, about 30% of the population is suspected to have a problem with gluten. So that's pretty big, and that likely could include you. So let's talk about what is gluten. So gluten is a protein found in wheat or cereal type grains that also is known as a lectin, which has been found to be inflammatory. Dr. Stephen Gundry has an amazing book on lectins and the foods that are lectin containing. So check that out, The Plant Paradox. So if you were thinking about looking at, thinking about eliminating, or, what is the destruction that is going on, possibly with the gluten. So what happens? Why is everybody now, gluten sensitive? So what we look at, part of the reason is, hate to get in the GMO bandwagon, but it is part of this, because the incidence of gluten problems in Europe is way less, and they absolutely allow no GMO there. The other part, though, is antibiotic usage, and even though there's a push by practitioners to use that less, it's still pretty common and destroys the gut lining. Other things that destroy the gut and make it more susceptible for you to have food allergies are even chemical exposure, or other toxins in our environment, like mold toxins can do it too. So there has been a compounding of these over since we've become industrialized, but especially since antibiotics, other pharmaceuticals can weaken our gut lining, and again make you more susceptible actually to developing an allergy or an intolerance. So how do you know? I also get the question, if somebody has a gluten problem, do I have celiac disease? So celiac disease is just the autoimmune version of having severe gluten intolerance. So what's happening is those people who have celiac disease, when they eat gluten, the body turns it into destruction of their small intestine. And once the gluten is out for those people, it can take about a year for them to recover. So how do you know the difference? So initially you start with, there's really, really amazing testing. You start with gliadin antibodies, IgA and IgG. Then you move into other autoimmune antibodies that confirm or help to rule out celiac, and that's the endomysial antibodies and tissue transglutaminase antibodies. And if those are a little unsure, if they're borderline, you can move a little further. There's genetic testing, and those are the HLA DQ8 and the HLA DQ2. And those, if you're positive for those, there's like a 98% chance, some of the research is even higher, that you do have celiac. The gold standard, though, is having a biopsy of your small intestine. So most people, if they have all the other markers and they feel great off gluten, then the treatment is exactly the same. So you just stay off gluten. And that's also the same for gluten intolerance. Now, if you have a mild gluten intolerance, then maybe there's something we call a rotation diet. You bring it in just a little bit, here and there, and feel okay, because there's been gut repair during the time you've been off of it. So So this is an area, whether you're having your doctor order these tests or we would love to order these tests for you. If you have questions about this, please reach out. We're here for you. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.